Hi everyone, welcome to JC Journals. I'm Rita and today I will show you a new mess-free way to bond your fabric to your journal cover using fusible web adhesive. This material will bond fabric to fabric, fabric to paper, and paper to paper. You can find this material at any fabric store, and you can also find it on Amazon if you type in fusible web adhesive. One thing to keep in mind with this material, it does need heat to activate, so you can't use any fabric that's sensitive to heat because it will damage it. I've been using this material for as long as I've been crafting. I've been creating journals for over 3 years now, and I never use glue for the outside of my journal cover. This is an example of the latest journal that I've created, and you can see that the fabric lays completely flat. There are no marks on the fabric, and you get perfect corners. So let's get started so that I can show you how I do this. I've gone ahead and put a piece of parchment paper to protect my ironing board. Next, we need to line up our cover so we can bond them together. That looks pretty good from the top to the bottom and the top to the bottom. And remember to leave a little bit of space so that our journal can close once it's bonded together. I like to use masking tape because when we remove it later, it comes off pretty easy. And don't worry about it if it moves because you can just adjust it. That looks pretty good. We'll lay that down. Perfect. Looks pretty good in the bottom. We'll put another piece on the bottom. Okay, and I like to put another piece in the middle. So we'll put that right there. And now we're going to be turning our journal upside down. I have gone ahead and cut a piece of the fusible material to the size of my cover. You want to cut it to the size of your cover, not the size of your fabric, because then you'll have excess glue everywhere, which is not necessary. What I do like to do is add just a tiny bit of glue to keep this material in place as I'm placing my fabric. This is just a Staples brand glue that I use. It works pretty good. You don't need anything fancy or expensive, because this material works like miracle glue. Okay, so we've got our corners covered. All right, next step, we need to put our fabric. So this is the front of my journal and that's the back, and my fabric, that's the front of my journal. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay my fabric down, and you can check where your fabric is. If you just press down, you will see I've got plenty of room so that I can fold my fabric over. And you can lift up your fabric just to check to make sure that your corners are covered. If you do miss a corner or any place of the book, you can always just add a little piece of this adhesive and it will work just great. So I'm going to grab my iron and I'm gonna start off with the sides of my journal. I am gonna go over the middle where the spine is. I don't wanna touch it right now too much because I don't want it to move. So you just put, you don't need to spend a lot of time with your iron on it. It attaches pretty quickly. And when you're going over your spine, just be careful that the front of your iron doesn't catch in the groove or your back, because you don't want any of your material to move. So I'm just gonna go back and forth. Sorry, I know you saw me touch the fabric there. Be careful. I touched it because it's not hot enough yet, but once you get it on there pretty good and it's hot enough, don't touch it because of course you will burn yourself. So we'll just go all around. Okay, now that my sides are glued pretty good, I can go into the middle and I can go into the groove to one side and make sure that that's nice and glued down. So do the other side. And now we're gonna lift it and just check and make sure that all our corners and our edges of our journal have bonded to the cover. Okay, so let it cool off a little bit because it is very hot. And we turn it over and perfect result every time. I've been creating journals for the past 3 years, and this is the only method I use to bond my journal covers. I absolutely love it, and I get a perfect result every single time. And it's mess free. I don't have to worry about glue seeping through onto my fabric, damaging my fabric. At this point, you can go ahead and add in your closures. I am just going to remove my parchment paper. If you don't want to add in anything, then you can go ahead with starting to fold over the edges of your journal. I am going to add in closures, and the way I measure that is I flip it over, and I'm going to measure the middle. You don't have to measure, you can just eyeball it. I like to be precise, and I'll show you the way that I do it. So that's 8.5 inches. Half of that is 4 1/4. So I'll mark that right here. And I want my closure to be about this close to the edge of the journal. So I've removed this part of the brad, and now I can go in with my marker and get the exact middle and make a dot there and remove it. So we have, see, my first dot was pretty close, so I'm just gonna go somewhere in the middle over here, and that's good. I've done the other side of the closure and the side for my tassel, so I'm gonna go ahead and poke my holes. Let me put this back in. Put something under that. So I'm going to poke my hole right here and all the way through. And for my tassel, my mark is right here and all the way through. And for the front of the journal, here's my mark. Put your hole through and all the way through. Okay, now I can go ahead and put in my closures. I want the loop to be facing this direction, so I'm going to put my brads in this way. If I wanted it this way, like I will do with the tassel, it'll go in this way. Okay, let's get this in there. It can be a little hard to push in. You just have to, there you go. And is it the way I want it? Is it straight? Yes, it's perfect. And let me grab my tool so I can open that up. Okay, so this is going over the edge just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is grab my side cutters and just cut a little bit of that off. Okay, and the other side. Want it this way. Push that in. Oh, it doesn't want to go in. Okay, there we go. Is that straight? Yeah. Perfect. So I know it's going to be a little bit over, just like the other side, because the measurements are the same. So I'll put that side down and cut this side off. There we go. push this down. And now we'll put in the loop or the brad for our tassel. I want it to go this way. So we'll feed this in through. Oops. This one doesn't want to go in. I'm going to make the hole a little bit bigger. Just watch my fingers. Okay, goes in this way. And put that through. It should go in no problem now. Oh, it's still fighting me. Oh, there we go. Okay, and it's a little bit crooked, so I'm just gonna straighten it out. There we go. That's good. Going to use my tool to bring this down. And that's not going over, so we don't have to cut that. That's perfect. Sorry guys, I know I say perfect a lot. I guess it's my favorite word. One step I like to do with these brads, just because there's going to be a lot of wear and tear, especially on the closure ones, I like to go in with my gem tack glue and put a piece of cardstock on top. This is the heaviest cardstock that you can get, so it's not like your regular paper pad cardstock. It is heavier. And my gem tack, I've had it for a long time. The top doesn't come off anymore, so what I do is I just use a tongue twist. I just use a Q-tip and I get that all over and over here, and this will secure it. And no matter what you do to them, well, unless you take side cutters to them, they won't come off. Actually, let me get the bottom off. I need to push this down a little bit. There we go. Okay, get the glue on the edges. I need a little bit more. Now I can put my heavy cardstock on top. And I need my clips. Okay, we'll put this clip on one side. I'm not worried about the edges of the cardstock because when this gets glued down, it'll all get glued down anyway. I'm not too concerned. This does take several minutes to dry completely. So I will have to pause the video and come back when it's dry. And then we can move forward. Okay, get this last part in. Oops. There we go. Okay, I'll let that dry and I'll come back when it's all nice and dry. Okay, this is now dry, so I'm going to go ahead and remove my clips and we can start folding in the edges of our journal cover. I am going to cut a little bit of this material off because it's not even straight. It doesn't need to be, it doesn't matter, but it's just excess fabric that is gonna cause more bulk when we fold it over. Oops, don't cut your finger like I almost did. Okay, that's good. And the bottom, that's good. So I usually cut the corners off and do it that way. I'm not going to today. I'm going to show you the way I do it without cutting the corners. And what I usually do is I won't apply glue all the way right away. And I'll tell you the reason why in a minute. What I do is I apply glue just to the corner and bring it up. I'm going to use tape right now just because it's going to take a couple of minutes for the glue to dry. So the reason why I don't do that is if you had glue here and you folded this over, this whole part would be glued down. So when you go to fold the sides over, you end up with that gap. But if you don't glue it, then you can lift this up all the way and then fold it over, and it'll give you a perfect corner. And I will show you that once I get the other two corners down. That's one corner. And the other corner. Let's get this down. This is a bit loose. I want to pull it down a little bit more. Okay, perfect. And you don't have to worry about this not being glued because the glue will seep through the material. So what I'm going to do is add my glue all the way down to the edge, and you can feel where your edge is. And when I pull it, I make sure I make sure that the inside part is getting pulled as tight as I can, and I hold this down with this finger and bring it over. Hold that down, and it's staying. You can pull up this part first. Sometimes I do, sometimes I start with the corners. It doesn't really matter which part you do. And then off to the next corner. Sorry, not next corner. We need to finish. Yes, let's do this corner first so that, like I said, there's no right or wrong. So you pull that from the inside all the way up. You hold this down with your finger and you pull it all the way. And press down. Don't worry about that little bunching there because we're gonna pull that up when we do the opposite side of the corner. Okay, so I need a little bit of glue here. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now so I don't forget. Okay, and then this side, I'm going to start from this corner, bring my glue down. I'm going to stop right there because I don't know how far it needs to go down. I'm going to pull this part in and just hold the middle there. Hold it till it stays down, and then I can start working on the corner. Okay, so my corner, again, I'm going to grab it, lift it up from the middle, and pull. And that gives you a perfect corner. Just hold it down until it stays in place. And if you need to add more glue to hold certain spots down, then you can go ahead and do that. Okay, and this is going to be covered by our inside panel, so you won't see that angle there. You'll just be seeing a little bit of the corner. I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of them. What did we do here? Oh, that's the corner we just finished. Okay, so I'm going to turn it this way so I can work on it. There's already glue in here. I'll add a little bit more. And pull that down. Hold it down. Okay, that's staying down. No, it's not. So let's add a little bit more glue. And just hold it down like that. And we're going to repeat the same process for the rest of them. By the way, if you like my video and enjoyed watching my content, maybe you'd like to consider subscribing and leaving a like so that you don't miss any of my videos. I will have many more videos to come. They will be about new ideas and the techniques that I use for my junk journals. For example, like my video about chain tassels. If you haven't watched that, I will link it in the description down below for your convenience. So this looks a little bit uneven. That's because I have my brad there. So I'm going to stand it up and just pull it down so it's nice and tight around the inside corners. Okay. And we're going to pull the inside and bring the fold down. There we go. And pull this down. Just hold it down. There's already glue down there. So we don't need to, we might need to add more later, like that spot right there, but I'll just leave it for now. Okay. Pull this, pull it from the inside and bring it down. Nope, that's too much. I'm going to hold it here, push that in, and bring it down. Okay. Okay, is that staying down? Yeah, we'll go back and fix all that once I have the corners finished. Go ahead and put my glue in. Put my glue on, sorry. Fold the inside like that down so it's nice and straight. Okay, and the corner, I'm going to lift up the middle a little bit from the middle and pull it all the way over. And I'm probably going to have to go back and glue the inside of it. I just want it to seep through the layers for a second. And then I can go in with more glue. Do we need more glue? No, it's perfect. Okay, and the last corner. I'm going to do it this way so that you can see better. Pull it from the inside, bring that up. And there we go. These little threads over here, I want to cut them off, but I'm not going to. Usually if I wasn't filming, I would go around and cut them off. And I know it's silly because you can't see them at all once the panels are in place, but they bother me because I know they're there. But I'm not going to let it bother me today. We're gonna leave them there. They're gonna live there for the rest of their lives. So I'm just going around and adding some glue to the edges just to make sure that everything is secure and held down. We'll put all around. Does this need it? A little bit. We can put some in. All the way around. This is already glued down from this side, so I'm not worried about it moving. I just need to make sure this stays down so it doesn't give me any problems later when I put the panels for the inside to cover everything up. Okay, and just press down. Okay, that looks great. The corners are perfect. And now I'm going to go ahead, and that's the right side up, and put my middle piece in. So we have to do this in 3 pieces. Otherwise, if we use one big piece, when we go to fold our journal, it will crease and bend all. It doesn't look nice at all. I don't like it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply glue. And one thing I learned when applying glue is the thicker the line of glue that I'm applying, the further away I need to be from the edge of the paper. Otherwise, it seeps through. So if I was applying just a thin line like that, then I would be closer to the edge. But since I'm applying a lot of glue, I need to be further away from it. Okay, get all the glue down in the middle. There we go. Just a little bit here. Oops, let me just wipe my fingers off so I don't get it all over the front. And when I place this down, I need to leave a little bit of space from the top and a little bit of space from the bottom. See how it's seeping out? Because I got too close to the edge. I'm just going to turn it around to see if it's straight. Yes. But it's okay if it seeps out to the edge here because it will be covered and you won't be able to see it. I don't like it when it seeps out from the top, from the middle part here. Because then you'll be able to see it from the top. There won't be anything there to hide it. I'm just going to grab a piece of parchment paper so I can turn my journal upside down and press down on it, just to make sure that everything is straight and glued down properly. Okay, see how it seeped out, which is perfectly fine. That's good. So we'll lay that down. And I'll get the panels for the sides here to glue those down. That's the back panel. So the reason why I labeled it front and back is just when I cut it through my cutter, it leaves this a little bit of a raised edge. It's really not a big deal if I put it any other way, but I just marked it so that I know the scrapbook paper is this way and I've cut this way. So this will be on the inside and this will be on the bottom. So let's get this on. Glue all the way. Now I'm going to be very careful with how close I get to the edge on this, because if it seeps out to the sides, you'll be able to see that too. And we don't want that. Get it all around the middle. Actually, before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try not to close my journal all the way because I don't want to do this part until it's dry. But if you do this, and if there's any liftage going on, you can press it down and go over it. See, like if that starts happening, you can just push it in, because we can do that now because it's not completely dried. Just push that in, and then that way later your paper won't break in the fold there. Press, 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 press. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Let's push this in. Okay, and I'm not going to try to close this until it dries. So that way it dries completely like this, because right now it's wet. So if I try to close it, it will keep lifting. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause right here, and I'm going to let this dry a little bit so I can show you what I mean. Now that it's dry, see, when I close it, it won't lift up. So I'll get my inside panel, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to line up this edge with this edge, and same with the bottom. So I'm just going to turn it this way so I can see, and get that on. And same thing, I'm going to leave a little bit from the edge here. Same amount of space as I left at the top. Line that up. Okay, push it in just a little bit. There you go. And as you can see, I've cut this panel just slightly shorter than where my bend is. And I did that on purpose so that when it folds, this will stay nice and clean and crisp. Okay, let's get our back panel. Put our glue on our back panel. Oh, I went too close to the edge there. I'm going to have to remember to use my finger to bring it inwards. Otherwise, if I forget, it will seep through and you'll be able to see it. Okay, all the way down and the middle. Oops, that's a little bit much up there, so I'll just push it. And the reason why I just do this and I don't get it on every single spot is because when I lay this down, it'll all move and it will fix itself. Okay, same thing. So I'm going to line this up here. Turn it around so I can see. Line that up, the top and the bottom. Okay. And push it in just a little. Oh, the glue the glue is seeping out. But it's okay because we can just use our glue cloth and wipe it up right away. So when this happens and there's more than one spot seeping out, what I do, I get to the sensitive spots first. And what I mean by that is when it seeped out onto the paper here, if I leave it there for too long, it'll get the paper wet and it will leave a mark. But if I get it right away, as soon as it gets on there, then it won't leave a mark, as you can see. And just wipe that off. The sides here where it seeps out to the fabric, I have a few seconds before you'll be able to see it if I leave it on for too long. Just press my edges down. Make sure nothing else is seeping out. Press, press. Okay, that's good to go. And there you have it. A complete journal cover. Now it's ready to go. It's ready for you to put in your signatures and go on to the next step. Okay, everyone, thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it helpful. And until next time, stay safe and love one another. Bye.